A live stream for all of you today because the other day I couldn't do one. The hotel, I couldn't get a connection, so I really wanted to do one today. I hope all of you are good. And I always say, and I try and go by this myself as well. If you've not had a good day, then hopefully you can still find gratitude in the difficult day that you've had, and that's what I do when I have difficult days. I mean, I've not particularly had a great day today either, but I've still managed to complete all my daily disciplines, and I still had some good times. So that's something to be really appreciated. Maybe I can go into that more on the channel. It's something that I do teach and mentor my clients on programs in person, and I have this conversation with friends, and as I just said, I work on it as well. I think a lot of people don't know that, and I didn't know it as well until I learned it. People feel like if they're having a bad day and they're really not happy, or they're struggling, or they're angry or upset, or they're just depressed, sad, lonely, people feel like they're powerless, and it's not true. With more discipline, with more practice, you can find gratitude. So it's not just being grateful when you're happy, because anyone can do that. It's easy. Gratitude is being grateful regardless of how you feel or what your life situation is. It's like a discipline. It's a choice, and it really does work if you work it and you practice it. So today I'm probably gonna go on different subjects, but the main subject I'm gonna start on is, how to live your best life, how to be courageous consistently in life. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy for me either, but I managed to do it for many years. How to be courageous and live your best life, and be grateful whilst experiencing uncertainty and anxiety. And that's really, everyone who's living, doesn't really have a choice. In a sense, it's choiceless in the sense that we're all going to die, and that creates anxiety for everybody. Just being conscious of your mortality, right? Let's just get to the truth of things, and I can work backwards. And then, human nature is people fear the unknown and uncertainty. People don't like being out of control, depending on how much they've worked on their mind and how they've lived, and what they're willing to sacrifice and dedicate their life to or not to. So you've really got a choice. Either you're going to have anxiety and fear in life anyway. Even if you just chose to live in your comfort zone, that creates massive anxiety. I tried that, so I can honestly teach and speak from both perspectives. The first part of my life, the first sort of 15 years, or I say 15, it might not be fully that, but around that, right? The first sort of start, I didn't go out and live my best life because I was terrified to do it. I was frightened of the uncertainty of doing that. So I did what most people do. I stayed in my comfort zone. I'd never come to a place like this. I couldn't even go to the local barbers and get my hair cut without panicking and worrying about the whole experience. I couldn't really leave my house. That's how bad I was at a certain point. I was so frightened of anything that made me uncomfortable, anything that could hurt me, anywhere where I could be judged, anywhere where it would feel uncomfortable, uncertain. I had very poor tolerance to uncertainty, fear, pain, challenge, excitement, growth, new things. I couldn't deal with it, and I lived like that for a long time. So I know that point of view. I know that way of living. And after a while, it was agonizing for me. It was very depressing, very lonely, very sad. No growth, there's no hope. Nothing changed. The only thing I suppose was good about it, that there was a lot of safety. I was controlling everything that I could control, because I was so frightened of someone taking the control off me. And all of that would have went back to childhood bullying, abuse, fear, anxiety, fear of punishment, doubt, schooling, education, fears of failing, judgment, having a mental health or sensitivity around mental health, anxiety. But this is all human. Everyone has this until they improve it or become until you become conscious of it and you become aware of, you know, where you're frightened, why you're frightened, and what you can do to improve it. So it's an ongoing challenge for all human beings, and I think that people forget that sometimes. They see someone who's successful because they made a lot of money, or they've, you know, they're a world champion boxer, or, you know, they're running a business, or, you know, they speak really well, or, you know, they've got an attractive partner, or they're in shape, or they work out, or they help people, or they're a person of faith, whatever the case may be. People see that and they think, oh, that person has it easy because of the way it looks, but they don't. They might have it easier in other ways because they're happier than you, or they've grown more, they've got more confidence, or they might have more money than you, or more freedom, but they still have to deal with being human. No one's better than anyone. We don't escape having a mind and having that fear of uncertainty and doubt. And when people say, I've said this before, when people say to me that they're not frightened and they don't have any fears, I just find that, number one, it's arrogant, it's not true. It's definitely fear speaking, because if that was true, then I'd say, well, if that's the case, then why don't you give all your money to charity? If you've got no fear, why don't you go and do a public speech? You know, why don't you do things that would be fearful for any normal, sane person? And the reason why you won't do those things is because you do have fear. You're not willing to admit it, and that's fear in itself. You know, the reluctancy to admit that you've got fears and anxiety. And I saw this growing up, and it was frustrating because I was someone that had a lot of fear and anxiety, and I had the courage to admit it and say, I'm really scared of many things and have anxiety most of the time. And I would ask other people, and they'll be like, no, I don't have fear. Like, almost like that's like a coward has fear. Of course, I realized later on that they were lying. They weren't being truthful. They had too much pride. They were too scared to show that vulnerability because they felt like, or they felt that that would make them, you know, ashamed or weak or however, which is not true. So fear, anxiety and uncertainty and negative thinking and worrying, all those things, and if you go further down that anxiety, it depends on how far. At some point everyone goes there, you'll come to hopelessness. We all feel hopeless at times, me included. You're human. And it's admitting that and then working on a strategy, discipline, gratitude, faith, courage, enjoyment, connection, you know, service to other people, that helps you to break out of that. But it's not like you feel hopeless, you break out of it and then you never feel hopeless again. It's an ongoing challenge, and I've learned that. And a lot of people, I struggle to admit that sometimes too, but it's true, a lot of people can't admit that. It's too much too much fear. So the more you admit that, the more courage you've got. So before we even get started with facing fears, it's admitting that you have them in the first place. And for a lot of people, that's like it's hell for them. They find it difficult. They feel like admitting that, or they'll be giving up all of their identity. And it's not true. It's actually freeing once you get used to it. You actually get more braver. So with uncertainty, from my experience, even as a person of faith, you don't completely stop being afraid of uncertainty. You don't, as long as you're human. But if you work at it, you get better at building a better tolerance to uncertainty. Uncertainty really is another word for fear. So no one becomes, even though we use these words and I use them, no one is free of fear if they're living, unless they're, I don't know, unless they're on some sort of drug or something. But people in their right mind have got fears, have got anxiety, we all do. But it's how you deal with it. So that's a little bit of a description. It's not my favourite part of the talk. I know it can be a little bit depressing and a bit of a downer, but if you can get past it, things will get better, and we'll get to that, and I'll give you some examples. Hopefully we'll get some questions, and I'm not going to plan this talk, I'm just going to see what comes out. Hold on. It's always interesting. I talk, when I meet people, I try and talk to as many people as I can and be friendly and kind. And when I meet people and talk to them, like I was in the gym today, I really enjoyed. I prayed for about an hour, longer than I usually do. Right? Sometimes I just pray short. It went longer today. I prayed on many things, especially strength for uncertainties. I can help more of you and help myself. Anyway, I did a good workout, and I had a steam, and I was having a sauna, and I was in the sauna, and usually in saunas and steam rooms it depends. People can be quite they get uncomfortable socially, right? I can relate, although I'm a lot more comfortable now because I've grown more, I've gone through more experiences, which is great. Depends on the people, right? And it depends on the mood that you're in. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to speak, but generally saunas and steam rooms can be very socially uncomfortable for people because of their fears of judgment and communicating and all those kind of things. But I've done it thousands of times now, and I've been in saunas before where you get people that are really outgoing, which is kind of great, and they're quite friendly and they're not as self-conscious, and then you get people that are like how I used to be. Maybe some of you can relate, where they're really stiff and tense, and I can see it, and they're self-conscious and they're worried about what people think and they don't know what to do and stuff. So today I was in the sauna. It was me, actually just me. It was a steam and a sauna, lovely. And I was in the sauna, and a guy came in, and I thought he was a guy earlier on that was doing push-ups, because I work out usually on the punch bag, and then a lot of the young guys and people, they play basketball, and there's a guy there that I know. He's a very nice guy, he's friendly with me, a young guy, and we both respect each other because we both, he's Muslim, I'm Christian, but we really relate to each other, respect each other's faiths, and we connect on working hard. He's just a great guy. So he talks to me, I talk to him. So there was another Asian guy doing press-ups, and I was impressed at his form. Anyway, so when I was having a sauna today, an Asian guy came in, and I thought it was the guy that was doing the press-ups. So I said, "Oh, was you the guy doing the press-ups today? You had really good form." And he laughed. He said, "No, it wasn't me." I said, "Oh, I thought you was the..." Anyway, so we got in a conversation, and he was just telling me that he's just moved to London. He loves it, loves the gym. He was from, I think he said he's from Malaysia. So I was saying to him that, I said to him, I made a joke. I said, I don't know what's harder, my actual workout or sitting in the sauna, because it's challenging sitting in the sauna for me. More than sort of 10 minutes gets hard, and he was saying it ain't that hard for him, he's used to hot weather. Anyway, two other guys came in the sauna, so there was like three of us, and I kind of started the conversation off, and then someone else continued, and then we were having a conversation. And I got talking, a guy was talking to me there, and he was from Paddington, asked me where I was from. I said, it's a coincidence, I'm originally from Paddington. I was born in St Mary's Hospital. He said, so was he. He was telling me about his job, his career. We talked about stress. And the reason why I'm making this point is because when I meet people and talk to them in person, I realise that everybody struggles with some sort of fear and anxiety and uncertainty. But when you're online, sometimes you feel a bit disconnected. It feels like people are not as honest because they're online, and I'm not that way, thank God. But some people they're in different places. They're trying to present an image, and people act different when they're online. Some people do, not everyone. Most people do today in our culture, right? I'm probably older now. I've gone through a lot, so I'm just not into that kind of stuff. I'm the same person I am on screen, online, or in person, if you like. So my point being, when you meet people in person from all walks of life, you realise that we're all human, and that we all struggle with fear and uncertainty, because we're human. We've got feelings, we care about our loved ones, we want to know that the future's bright, etc. So if you're watching this stream, you're not alone with your anxieties. You're not strange, you're not weird. You probably feel like that at times, because you're thinking of yourself. That's what the mind does. That's what anxiety does. It makes you feel that you're different, you're isolated, and other people are not uncertain or fearful when they are. We go through different stages in our life. I've said it, I've gone through periods of my life where there's less anxiety because things are going well, and I'm focused, I'm not even thinking about that. But it's still there in the background. And then there's periods where we have challenges. We all have challenges. We have a breakup, or unfortunately someone dies close to us, or we get a health scare, we get a financial challenge, or someone we love is going through a challenge, or someone upsets us, whatever the case may be. And then it kind of disrupts our safety net piece that we built. whether it's, you know, financial, health, business. Does that make sense? There's an ongoing challenge. It just depends where you're at. You know, as I said, when you have a good day, things are going well and you feel safe, that's because you're more connected to living and you've got more peace, which is great. And then when you have a really bad day and you're worrying, it's because you've connected more onto your uncertainty, anxiety, or both of that, if that makes sense. And I've learnt this from my 40 years of studying this. I've been obsessed with fear and anxiety since I was a kid, and I'm still obsessed with it now. I was always fascinated with how debilitating it can be for me and for others, but also when you face it, how amazing, how great you feel when you get on the other side of it. So that's why I titled this video, which is true in the solution to this problem. It's having the courage to you know, live life whilst experiencing anxiety and uncertainty and periodic feelings of hopelessness. So I'm going to give an example now, right, just to put this into context, different experiences from my life. You guys go get your questions in. So when I first started amateur boxing, I was terrified. I was already a frightened person anyway. I was already shy. I was already an insecure person and nervous. But I loved boxing growing up, watching it, and I always admired the fighters. I always thought they're so brave. These men are fearless. And I liked martial arts, Bruce Lee. I liked, you know, hitting the bag, hitting the pads. I always liked physicality, you know, training, martial arts, boxing, sports, football. A little bit of basketball when I was younger, probably not so much now. I still respect the sport, weight training. So I wanted to do it. I wanted to give it a shot, but obviously I was scared to do it because I was worried, you know, like everyone is, of getting beaten. It was the uncertainty of not knowing how I would do when I went in the ring, and that used to drive me mental thinking about it because I wouldn't know the answer. And of course the mind will conjure up the worst case scenario. So with my anxiety, my human nature and uncertainty, it would always go, what if you get knocked out? Or what if you don't even land one shot and it's embarrassing and the other person is just moving and you're throwing punches and he's moving out of the way and you look ridiculous, and then he, you know, catches you and beats you up? Or what if you get tired? Or what if everyone's watching and then they see that you get nervous and then you embarrass yourself? So that was the uncertainty and the worry and the anxiety, and that went on for quite a long time until I got in the ring and did it for real. And it was an overwhelming, terrifying experience of you know, fight or flight. I actually I froze. I couldn't fight the first time I got in the ring, or the first few times I just froze up and couldn't fight. Was overwhelmed with anxiety. But then the more I did it, the better I got. I got better at dealing with the fear, and I could box more, and I got hit more. I took the beatings and give back, and you know, over time, it took time, but my tolerance to the uncertainty and the anxiety of getting in the ring and sparring, and it was always tough sparring. It was always a lot more tough than what people think who watch it, you know. But it was also a lot of fun, and then it got easier over time. Then it got hard again. Then it got easy. It was like, it replicates life. So if you're on this stream today, we're talking about, I'm a mentor and a teacher. My name's Jonathan. I help people to change their lives, to build discipline, to manage anxiety better, to be a better person. So I never fully got rid of the fear. No one really does with the boxing. I mean, some days it'd feel like it would, but the fear never fully went away, and the anxiety, you actually realize it's not supposed to. But I got calmer and I got better, and my tolerance to the fear and the uncertainty of getting in the ring and sparring and fighting and boxing, it got better the more I did it. So the more I practiced it, the better I got, the more confident I got, the more courageous, the more calmer I got in uncertainty. So to this title, I learned how to live courageously in a boxing ring, perform to the best of my ability, or sometimes not, whilst experiencing high levels of anxiety, adrenaline, sometimes feelings of hopelessness, not always though, and feeling frightened. I learned to thrive in that situation, and I absolutely loved it. I lived for it for that period. You know, it I guess you know, people use the word, yeah, I'm not, you know, I was a fear junkie, I was adrenaline junkie, I was addicted. Part of me didn't like it, part of me loved it, and everyone feels like that. So that is an example on a practical level. That's one strategy of how to deal with uncertainty and fear and improve your relationship with it, by facing it, by taking a risk. If you don't take risk in life and you don't face what your mind will say, you might die. I mean, you can die in a ring. People, it's not nice, obviously, it's tragic. And you can die in a sparring match. It's unlikely. The chances are very unlikely, but you can die. So I had to take that risk every time I got in. But if I didn't take that risk, then I wouldn't be living. I'd go back to the way that I was before, which was existing but not living. It was horrible. It's a horrible way to live, where I'm scared to come out of my flat. So you're surviving, you're alive, you're so protective, you're protecting yourself from every single perceived potential threat. So on that merit, it's like, yes, oh, I'm alive now, I'm safe. But in terms of spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you're in turmoil. You know, you can't give any value. If you don't, nobody knows you. You can't connect with people, you can't give, you can't receive, you can't grow, you can't live life, you can't enjoy your life. You can't find any peace when you're in your comfort zone for a long time. The comfort zone becomes the most dangerous place in the world, even more dangerous than a boxing ring, more dangerous than, for some people, I understand, I don't feel this way anymore, but they'd be nervous to come to a place like this because of what it represents in their mind. Uncertainty, danger, they feel not good enough unless they change that and overcome that by coming to places like this and by developing that tolerance. So I like to give real concrete examples that are simple, that people can go and live and apply, so they can get immediate results, instant results. And that's what I do love about what I'm an expert in talking about, teaching and living. And I really don't mean to sound arrogant when I say that. I'm not an arrogant person. If you know me, you know my heart. But it's true, and I want to help more people in this area, right? So it's really choosing to be brave. And one of the great things about courage that I've learned, and again, it might not be 100% certain, but it's certain enough, right? Back to uncertainty. You know, courage is something that you have to choose for yourself. Like I wish I could give all of you courage right now. Maybe I can, maybe you tell me that I can, but I don't think I can. But I can't give you courage, but I can educate you, inspire you, share my story and give you explain to you, but you've got to find courage. You know, courage is something that you choose, which is in yourself. It's not external. You can't go to Amazon and say, you can't buy courage. You know, and I don't mean this smugly, unless you pay for my mentorship or get a mentor that's very brave and got experience in life and lived it, and they mentor you and teach you. So maybe from that point you can buy courage. But even then, you know, even if you pay me for a mentorship program or you pay a mentor or therapist, you know, I can't get in your body and live for you. You've still got to do it. So I can't, let's say for example, you're nervous to come to a place like this, right? A top hotel, a 5-star hotel, which a lot of people are, and I understand that, right? Even though they shouldn't be. Everyone's, no one's better than anybody, in my opinion. But let's say you are, right? So you see me in a place like this, and it inspires you. Maybe it doesn't, it makes you feel negative. I hope it doesn't. But so you see me do it and think, well, Jonathan done it. He, same as me, he had the same anxieties that I did. He was debilitated at one point. He couldn't come out of his house. He couldn't communicate. I couldn't basically live. I was just surviving, but I was dying inside. So you might say to yourself, wow, that inspired me. I wish I could do that. I wish I could do what Jonathan's doing. Not from a standpoint of being egotistical, that's not my point, but from a point of, wanting to be a better person and overcome your fears and your anxieties as an exercise, right? And let's just say that you do. I love hotels. I've got an appreciation since I was a kid. I like coffee. I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I just like nice atmospheres, right? So let's say you're inspired and you would like to do it, which you can. Anyone can walk in these places and buy a coffee, sit down, use good manners, and they'll let you. So, I mean, I can't do that for you. I can share my story. I'm a living example now of what's possible, what all of you can do, or you guys and girls of any age, and wherever you are. But if you don't physically do it, then you're not going to grow. You're not going to build a better relationship and a better tolerance for uncertainty and anxiety, so you can get more out of life and enjoy it more, have more peace, have more gratitude, and enjoy your life. So that's another example. So I'm going through, you can write these down all if you want. I'm sharing my story as I'm teaching. I'm going through my life at different stages, picking bits out, giving you examples of where I was courageous and faced things that really frightened me until I became comfortable with them. So for example, being here now, I don't have any fear. I don't feel scared. I feel the opposite. I feel like I wouldn't do it, but I feel like I could get up now in the middle and give a public speech. I'd actually love to do it. It'd probably throw me out, think I'm nuts. But I'd love to do that now because I've got the confidence to do it. But this has been years of practice. Now there are other areas in my life where I'm frightened and I don't have the experience. Some of you would be better than I am in areas where you're comfortable and I'm not comfortable, and I'd be insecure and nervous because I don't have the experience and the practice. So it's all about practice and experience and discipline. With any situation in life that you feel frightened or intimidated or you can't relax. So the boxing ring was brilliant for me, my development, my intolerance to uncertainty, coming to hotels and also public places, and I'm not just, it doesn't have to be fancy hotels, but it did help me a lot. You know, all places, KFC, McDonald's, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, getting on the tube, going and getting a haircut. I was scared to go, I was scared of life, I was scared of people, scared of living. So all these things frightened me. That's where I started from. Now the next thing, starting your own business, very uncertain. Now if you're working for a company and you're getting paid a regular salary, you know every week that you're going to be paid, right? Or you get paid monthly. Obviously you're still going to have some uncertainty because life's still uncertain for all of us, but there's some security there. But when you start your own business, we're not guaranteed to get a paycheck. And obviously I've got bills to pay, rent, taxes, living expenses, coffee, food, memberships, clothes. So it's frightening. It's frightening to become an entrepreneur when you are a person that would prefer to have that security, but when you realize that that security doesn't make you happy anymore. So I did that for a while. It didn't work for me. Working different jobs at different times and then getting a set wage, but in the end it made me depressed. It started to affect my mental health. So I wanted to go on and do what I loved and be my own boss, pay my own taxes and earn my own money and not have a limit on what I could earn. But there's uncertainty, you can't guarantee it. And you've got to learn to live like that. And I've been doing that for many years now. I'm running a business for 12 years now. Obviously in between that I had a mental health breakdown, I had some time out. Generally, working, paying taxes and having to make my own money when it's not certain. You don't make the same money all the time. Sometimes you make a lot of money, sometimes you don't make much. Depends, business can be up and down. So that's uncertain. And that brings up a lot of fear and anxiety and worry if you don't learn how to control that and find ways and strategies and disciplines and faith and courage and all those things I've mentioned and more to accept that, but then to also appreciate the beauty that comes of it, the freedom that you don't have to, I don't have to get up at a set time. I'm my own boss, I can work with my clients pretty much most time I want. So I don't have to get up in the morning if I don't want to, and my clients are great, we can be flexible. So I have a lot of time outside of, even though I'm busy and I run a business and have to get clients and earn money, I have a lot of time out to do what I want to do. And that's because I've worked hard and developed a better relationship to uncertainty, and any of you can do it. And I've helped my client Phil to build a business in less than a year. Now he's running a business, he's got better at dealing with uncertainty, that's why he's his own boss now. That's why he's becoming, well, he is financially free, but more, doing what he loves, he's growing. So when you realise that everybody's got fear and anxiety, but not everybody's got the same tolerance better relationship with it. So your relationship with fear and uncertainty will determine the quality of your life in the long run. So that's where daily discipline comes in, practicing gratitude daily. That's why I said wake up in the morning, make your bed, go to the gym, clean your apartment, eat healthy as consistently as you can, treat people well, have personal boundaries, create value, work on your business, have some time out to pray if you're a person of faith. If you're not, I respect that. Practice gratitude. All these disciplines help you to live a great life. But I think a lot of people, they're naive until they've actually built success or experienced a more positive or a disciplined life. They think that when you're financially free, or you're emotionally free, or you're fit, you're healthy, that you're still going to have challenges. You're still going to have to deal with massive amounts of anxiety in periods, the same way everyone does, but at the cost of having a better life. So that's the question I'd ask all of you. You're going to have fear and anxiety, but would you rather have fear and anxiety and live the life that you really enjoy and you get a lot of gratitude out, because that's the best option? Or would you rather stay as you are, potentially in a job that you don't enjoy? Most people don't enjoy their job, that is a fact. I'm not particularly happy about that, but that's the time we live in. But the ones that change have got the courage to go and pursue what they want to do, put that work in and work hard. But anything that you want to achieve is not going to come without hard work. Whether it's boxing, it's business, it's overcoming an anxiety, all these things are a full-time job if you want the proper results. So what you put in is what you get out. And in every industry that I went into, but when it was boxing, I had to work my arse off. Business, mentorship, working on overcoming anxiety, helping my clients. It's a full-time commitment, dieting, getting in shape. If you don't fully commit, then you don't get the results. You just always are in that place where you're not growing, you're not living it. You're just kind of lying, you're not being accountable, you're not pushing yourself. So whatever you choose to do, if you don't, live it daily, you're not going to get there.
Oh, that's okay.
That's why we love boxing so much, and that's why we love the big fights, because we all make predictions, but it's uncertain. We don't really know what's going to happen. Tyson Fury was expected to beat Ngannou, and I love Fury. I thought Fury would win. I mean, Fury did when he got the decision, but no one expected that. And that's why boxing is such an exciting sport, because you just never know. Even when someone is expected to win and it's so unlikely that they'd lose, that there's always a chance that they can lose, that they can be beat on any given night. Even a world champion can be beaten by someone that is, you can't really say Ngannou's a novice because he's an elite level fighter, but in boxing it was his first fight. Even though I didn't see it that way, I see him as a spiritually, really mentally strong person who's overcome a lot, and he's a good martial artist, and he's got natural instincts of good timing, and he's a brave man. But generally, we love boxing because the uncertainty, and there's an element of fear when you're watching it, and excitement and adrenaline. So it's funny how a lot of people are fans of watching people living a brave life, but when it comes to them doing it, they opt out. That's usually where a lot of people become haters and critics, because it's easy to hate and criticize. It's easy to do that and vent your frustrations at other people that are braver than you and more disciplined, but it's not as easy for you to take responsibility and for you to go and be brave and live it in your life. Yeah, I've got some advice. That's a challenging thing, but I'll give you some advice. It's not going to be a comfortable practice. It's going to take you some time, by the way, but it will help you. So with your struggle, as you said, any tips about obsessing over work being perfect and failure? So that's a fear of like shame, judgment, and not being good enough, and never being able to accept yourself, and even when you're doing good things. I'd say you've actually got to practice just doing it and accepting the horrible emotions that come up, because that's really what you're trying. Again, it's the uncertainty again, it's wanting to feel good. So I wouldn't go by your emotions, but I think it's good to have the attitude that you want to do your best job. You should have that attitude, right? You know, if you're doing a job, you want to do the best of your ability. Like I'm on this live stream and I do the best I can right now, but at the same time I accept that it doesn't have to be perfect. So it's almost you've got to practice two things at one. You've got to actually stop trying to be perfect, because you can't be perfect, none of us are, but you've got to still try and do your best. But you got to accept yourself and accept that. Look, let me give you an example. As I said, I didn't have a great day today, right? I've had much better days than how I felt today. But when I look at the facts of what I've done, it's been a great day. I've got a lot done. I made a list of what I want to do. I completed the whole list. Even doing this live stream, I went gym, I cleaned, I prayed. I had a great prayer time today. I'm doing a great live stream today. So I can give myself that credit. That's the work. So you're gonna have to work on that relationship. Again, that's a lot of that is mental discipline, and that's accepting your negative emotions, which we all have negative emotions. So a lot of those things would really help if you practice them. And you know, you've been in a behavioral pattern for a long time now, because you've told me, and I understand that I work with people all the time. So you're trying to break a behavioral pattern that you've been doing for a very long time, which isn't going to be easy, but you can do it. And that's why I say again about commitment. So try that, try those tips. It's almost like giving yourself permission to just go, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my job well, but I'm going to accept if you might think it's a pile of crap, but I might go, you did a great job. You know, your colleagues might go, you actually done a great job. But if you feel that it was rubbish, it was crap, then it's you that's dealing with your own feelings. So I think you've got to accept feelings and practice gratitude, because a lot of the times, you know, what we feel is not actually congruent with what is true. Does that make sense? So I remember Ronnie O'Sullivan, you know, he's the greatest snooker player that's ever lived. Amazing. But he would come back from the match, he won everything, right? And then they'll be like, Ronnie, like, you were amazing out there today, how'd you feel? And he'd be like, he basically go, I feel like crap. He goes, I think my performance was terrible out there, I was struggling. And they're like, what do you mean? You just won the championship. You were amazing. But he had those issues, and I get it. I've worked through those too. Now Ronnie's fixed them. He got a psychologist. He's got a better relationship. So it's really about the relationship with you, not so much the relationship with what you do, even though it is a bit of that. It's more about self-esteem and shame and being able to give yourself credit. It comes down to you. So it's working at that, and that will come with awareness, which you're aware today. You're aware of it, and I've made you more aware. Now you've got the practice, the tips. You can get it. It will get easier over time, but you've got practice. I've done like you know, I have the same pattern, so I'm aware of it. I've improved it. I've done a lot of YouTube videos, and I've looked at them and gone, I don't like them. They're not good enough. But someone comes on the video and said, this is one of the best videos I've ever found. You've changed my life. I can't believe your videos inspired me. It's inspired someone to change their life. But I might feel that I don't like my own video. So I've gone through that, but now where I'm at, and this will inspire you, I can do a video and go, I can appreciate that, even if my mind judges it or my emotions go, I don't like the video, well, it's not as good as the last one. I can just go, I showed up, I told the truth, there's value in it, I tried, fantastic, keep going. So it's that relationship again with ourselves, and it's not seeking, because even if you get the validation from someone else, if I tell you did a great job, and your co-workers tell you, and your parents tell you it, and we mean it, but you don't believe it and you don't feel it, it's an issue that you've got with yourself that you can improve. But your question doesn't just speak to you, this speaks to all human beings until they improve it. A lot of people that are talented have this problem. They're really good at things, but when someone says you're really good at that, they go, oh, I'm not that good, I'm terrible, it's that low self-esteem, it's that past trauma, it's that unwillingness to accept love, to give self-love, to appreciate one's own abilities, but obviously to have humility. There's that balance. But yeah, Ronnie O'Sullivan was a good inspiration for me, because I've grown up watching him for many years and seeing the genius that he is on the table, but seeing his mental health struggles and his emotional struggles to love himself, and then seeing how that he loves himself more, that he has a better relationship now with him as a person. Because you can be great at snooker, but you can be bad at life. You cannot be good with you and your relationships, and that can cause immense suffering. And that goes for anyone. You can be a world champion boxer. Many boxers are like that. They're brilliant, they're amazing at boxing. They're champions, they're world champions, but they're not good with themselves. They don't like themselves. They don't have a good relationship. They've not worked on them. They've worked on boxing, which is something that they do that they're good at. But boxing is not intrinsically who they are deep down. They're still a human being. Many business people are like that. I went through that stage myself, where they're very good at business, they're good at making money, they're brilliant at business, but they're not good with themselves. They don't like themselves. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to find some peace with who they are without the attachments of their business or their money or their brand or their image. And that's where the problem lies for all human beings until you make progress with this. And I went through this as well, and I'm still going through it and getting better with it, where I was very good at business and teaching and mentoring, but I wasn't good with me as a person in certain areas because of the same challenge that you brought up today, igniting illumination. I think there is a level of humility, though. Humility is very beautiful, very important for everyone. I'd really try to practice it daily and encourage people you've got to have humility. So, it is nice when someone's praising you and you just say, I appreciate it, but, I'm not going to take all the credit for it. And, you praise God, that's beautiful. But there is also a balance where it's too unhealthy of self-hating and not actually receiving it and appreciating that you've done a good job. There is a balance. There has to be a balance. Otherwise, you're just torturing yourself, and that's not good for anybody. But yeah, all these things play back. That's why I like this title, because there's no question today that will really come up. Again, I'm not certain, but there's uncertainty there, but where it wouldn't connect with the title, courage, uncertainty, living your best life whilst being under pressures and fears, etc. periodically. Let's get some more water. I'm so thirsty. I'm still dehydrated. I had a really good workout, and I was talking to the guys. I stayed in the sauna for 20 minutes. That's my record, longest I've done so far. There's a guy in there who was telling me 30 minutes would be great, so I'll work up to that. He was the 20 something. I usually stay for about 5-6 minutes, and that's enough. I did 20 today, so feels good from that. I'm feeling a bit dehydrated. So yeah, that's a lot of information there in the last 40 plus minutes on the right teaching, the tools, the mindset, and comes down to courage and character, stamina. I don't know when I'm doing that. I'm going to get any more water now. So yeah, I'll just have a few minutes out, right? I can't think of anything to say right now. I've kind of said everything that I wanted to say. I'm just going to have a little bit of a breather. Because I'm tired, it's been a long day, and then I'll speak when I can think of something meaningful to say. But I've said pretty much most of what I wanted to say today on the stream. Yeah. Just gonna get some more water. Hold on. Yeah, I've just ordered some more water and coffee. You don't realise sometimes how much these live streams they take a lot of energy. You know, these streams. Those of you, if you've never done these streams, honestly, some days I do them and they're easy. But when you've been training all day, running a business and praying and challenging yourself, it takes a lot of energy out of you. It's like being in it's not the same intensity, but energetically, emotionally, it's like being in an emotional punchback. It's like being in a ring, taking a beating. You know, like I said, this is what it takes to be not just successful, but to be a better person, live a positive life. You've got to show up and have the stamina to push when you don't always feel like doing it. Same exercise in the sauna today. When it got to 5 minutes is pretty easy, kind of challenging. 10 minutes, after 10, I started to struggle to breathe in there. I wanted to get out. I was having a good chat with a couple of the guys in there. We were talking, and after I got present and just stopped thinking about it, it got easier to stay there. And that's another actually good exercise for anxiety. When you consciously start to think, oh, I'm stressed now, I'm suffering now, or I'm uncomfortable now, I'm not enjoying this, it really does rip you to pieces. It's psychological, so it's not always easy. I'm struggling right now with the exercise because it's an ongoing exercise. But when you stop thinking and you just enjoy it and you commit, it's the same this teaching is the same everywhere. Talking, boxing, saunas, sitting down, you get into a flow, which I'm trying to get today, and it's not coming because I think I'm really tired, I need a rest. I'm going to keep going. And then you connect and it's effortless. You're welcome. Yeah, it's normal. These are, it's all normal. This is the great thing about speaking to people in real life. You realize that, it's normal. We make things in our society not normal that are normal. Anxiety is normal. What you've just described there's nothing unusual about what you've just said there. I'm not like, I've never heard that before, right? My coffee's kicking in. I have to work with this every week with clients, and I go through it myself, and everybody has. It's how you deal with it. See, that's the thing, look, and I mean this to everyone in a positive way. It's not about you've got anxiety. Everyone's got anxiety, or I'm lazy. We're all lazy to a certain degree. Human nature is to be lazy, or I get overwhelmed, or I worry about small things. That's everybody. That's everyone I've ever met. But what do you do in response to that? Do you have the courage to make progress? Do you have the courage to say, and I didn't say this about you, but I'm overwhelmed, which is normal to feel like at times with tasks. It's happening to me every time I'm getting a task. I'm impatient. Oh, sorry, is it laziness? Is it laziness? Could be. I'd say it's anxiety. I'd say it's fear, anxiety, laziness. Yeah, laziness is fear and anxiety. You're right, it is. Yeah, it is. So it's, are you going to go in the boxing ring? Are you, I'm not saying you've got to go in a boxing ring, but metaphorically, are you going to face your task? I don't know what your task is. Maybe you could tell me what is specifically the task, but it doesn't really matter what the task is. The principle is the same. Have you got the courage to act whilst feeling uncertain and anxious and stressed, or perfectionism or procrastination, whatever the case may be? I'm doing it right now. I've got the courage. I've decided to have the courage to be here today, even though I didn't feel like being here. I do enjoy it. I want to be here, and I enjoy mentoring. And you're nice people, lovely people. But I'm human, and I'm tired, and I've been pushing, and I've been in the gym for 2 hours, and I'm running a business, and I'm dealing with my own stresses, my own anxieties. But I chose to be here today because I want to do my job and I enjoy it, and I want to help more of you to live a better life. I like to set a positive example. So I've been here today for 50 minutes in front of here talking, and I'm experiencing some frustration, some uncertainty. Now, yes, some anxiety, small anxiety, because it's challenging. It's challenging to be here. It'd be easier to switch this off and just sit down here and go, I'm going to rest, which I will do later on. Rest is important, but not without earning it. But I want to be here. I want to set an example. So if I can do it, then why can't any of you do it? I'm no different, and I'm not better than any of you. So it's practice, it's a choice. Practice is a choice. No one can force you to practice. Discipline is a choice. No one can force you to be disciplined. Courage is a choice. No one can force you to be courageous. They can inspire you. They can talk to you. They can mentor you. They can give you therapy. They can write a book. They can write a post. They can do a live stream. Ultimately, the decision lies with you and the commitment to live the best life with courage whilst experiencing hopelessness at periods, not forever, of course, uncertainty and anxiety. The choice is yours. I encourage you to make that better choice if that's what you want to do. Any more questions, go for it, right? I'm fascinated with the human spirit, what human beings can do and how they do it. Like, I'm fascinated, and I mean this kindly. When people say they're amazed at how I can do what I do, the courage I've had, and I look at other people and I'm amazed at them. I'm like, how did you do that? Like, teach me, explain. I want to know your story. I'm fascinated by your mindset as a person. How did you get through your trials and tribulations to get to where you are now? That for me is so interesting. That's why I want to go on more podcast shows, but at the moment I'm failing a lot. I'm getting lots of rejections. A lot of people are not inviting me on for whatever reason, and that's life. That's part of dealing with life and not giving up, which I won't. I've got my own podcast show, but I have been on some podcast shows. Again, that's gratitude. Appreciate it, man. It's great. Thank you. These cakes are lovely. Who makes these? They're unique. Never tasted them. They're lovely.
You will pay by card?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Take this if you don't mind.
Sure. No, I don't need a receipt, thank you. You can take that, that's great. Thank you. Awesome, man. Have a good evening. All right. Pretty nice, man, Nico. Yeah, you need a lot of, the word stamina keeps coming to mind lately. That's because I realized that that's what you need, because it's not just being brave one day. You've got to be brave every day. When I got this realization, believe me, I didn't like it. All of you would be thinking, tell me the truth. I'm not going to be offended. It's life. Sometimes truth is tough. When I realized that, whoa, if I want to live the best life and I want to help people, even if I just want to live in faith every day, or just appreciate life more, I got to do it daily, every single day. Yeah, I got to go the distance every day. I was like, when I first realized that, I was like, oh man, they didn't teach us in schools. Why didn't people tell me the truth? Like, that life is, life is what you make it. It can be great, but it's challenging for all of us. It's however you want to live it, because it's daily, and obviously until we die. So I was like, oh man, I can do it today, because today I've got the stamina to go the distance, as you said, Eddie, because it's today. But the thought of having to do it tomorrow, and then the next day, and then the next day, and the day after is like, oh man, that's terrifying. That's uncertain. That is like mental torture. Of course, from that point of view, when you think like that, you go out of your mind if you go like that. But if you just go, what if I was to accept that, break that down, and just do one day at a time? I could probably live with that, and I might enjoy life more like that. Of course you do. So it's acceptance as well, which is difficult for me, for all of us. The acceptance of uncertainty and anxiety. How many of you, tell me the truth, you really struggle to accept uncertainty in your life, however it plays out? If everyone's honest, unless they're a spiritually enlightened master, which I'm certainly not, then they would be honest and say challenging. No, that's not true. You're not a hypocrite. You got great courage there, and that's great humility. You've got a right to say that, man, as everyone has. I've suffered with mental health too. So just because you've got, I might be a hypocrite because I suffer badly from BD. Can you explain to me? Is that a mental health condition, right? Is that a personality disorder? I think my friend had that. No, you got a right to say that. Everyone's got a right, because at the end of the day, none of us are perfect, so you got a right to say that. Oh, okay, sorry, I didn't know that. Okay, body dysmorphia. Got a right to say that. I can relate some of that growing up. I had some of that. I overcame that, but I had, I don't know if my condition was as severe as yours, but I had it. I didn't used to like my body. I used to be obsessed looking at it and thinking that I was ugly, that I was skinny. I got over that. Bruce Lee helped me to get over that, watching Bruce Lee's videos and going and living it and training and built my confidence up. Hope that helps you. But yeah, thanks for sharing it. It takes a lot of courage. You're brave. We've all got issues. No one's perfect. We've all got anxieties. We've all got some kind of obsessive insecurity. But my story is that you can improve it. You can change it. Doesn't matter if you've got a mental health condition or body dysmorphia. Sometimes the condition can actually help you. Can make you change your life more. Mine did. If I didn't have anxiety growing up, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't have made the changes that I've made. I wouldn't have met all of you. I wouldn't have helped people. They wouldn't have helped me. So sometimes you've got to really look at the facts and be truthful, as opposed to looking, going by how you feel and the insecurities and the emotions of what they tell you. And it's a little bit like the question I answered earlier on. One of you asked me about being too much of a perfectionist. Not easy though. Acceptance isn't an easy thing. It's not a quick fix. It takes time. It takes work. So you've got to dedicate your whole life. Maybe some people is different. It hasn't been in my experience of mentoring people for 12 years. I've had it with clients where they have a hard time accepting themselves and accepting success or the positive things in their life, but they find it very easy to be critical of the negative until they start to make progress, and they're able to see that for themselves rather than having me to tell them, or their family, or their client, or a colleague, or a friend, or someone that appreciates them, or a group of people, etc. So acceptance it takes time. Like I said, it took me time to accept my body. Even though, when I look back, I had a good body growing up. Even when I was really slim, I was slim. It's a blessing, but I didn't see it that way. I didn't feel that way about my body. until I changed it, until I could, fix that psychological problem that I had with the type of body dysmorphia that I had, with not liking my body, having a lot of hatred towards feeling that I'm skinny and I'm ugly and I'm weak and my body doesn't look right. So, it took a lot of work to get to where I am now and to actually feel good about my body. So anyone can do it, but you've got to put that work in, and it's a daily grind. Well, that's lovely, coffee. If any of you have done therapy, you'd know that, right? That therapy takes time. It's not quick fix, and that, again, that triggers that uncertainty, because quick fix mentality, we've all got it, right? But it's, are you aware of it? Are you going to change it? And I've got it. We all got it. Quick fix mentality is a reluctant to accept your situation and to accept that things take time, work, sacrifice, challenge, honesty, accountability, vulnerability, not perfectionism, and it takes some time and patience. And that's where we've had it for a long time, especially in today's generation. If something's not quick, people they lose interest. But those that understand the value of things take time and work, they stick with it and they're committed. Like, is what I say, it's not a sales pitch, but it's true. I only mentor committed clients, because if they're not committed, then my teaching's useless. It won't help people, and I can't help them because they're not going to be committed to the program. And even though I'm giving them a teaching that works, is life-changing, if they're not going to put it into practice and show up to sessions, then they're not going to get results. Where a client who's committed, like Phil, James, many clients I've worked with, they get life-changing results because they're committed. They're not, they accept the truth that it's going to take time, it's going to take work, but the progress they'll start to make progresses from session to session. Every 2 hours they'll make progress, but you're not going to get from A to B in one session or in a week. It's going to take 6 months, a year, maybe longer. It depends on how committed you are, how much work you put in, how aware you are, how passionate you are, how much you appreciate it, etc. So that's why, just to get some psychological peace, that's why it's good to break things up into a couple of hours or a day, because when you think about things in the long haul, even if I do it right now, it sends you out of your mind. You just get stressed out and scared, and then you suffer right now because you start thinking, I want to get here in my life, I want to lose 30-40 pounds, but it's going to take me 6 months. 6 months time, what am I going to do now? I'm going to be miserable for 6 months. And it's like, you will be with that mindset. You will be with that mindset and that attitude. That is knee-jerk reaction. I get it, it's human. You've got to change your relationship with time, with uncertainty, with commitment, and you've got to find a way of being grateful for something now, and then you can go through that process of working for 6 months really hard to lose that 30 pounds, to get that diet right, for example. I don't know if any of you have heard it, but there's some really good speeches on YouTube. There's a particular one I like. I love listening to David Goggins. There's a gentleman, I can't remember his name. He gave a speech. I think he was a former Navy SEAL. He gave a brilliant talk on never give up on hope and what it takes. What do you mean by that? Don't I cease improving when I accept something about myself? I see what you're saying. There's a balance with everything. There's what I call correct. So you can accept yourself, but you can still improve as well. So it would be like saying, well, I want to be a kind person, which is one of the best things in life. I teach that and I practice it, and I want to be more kind as well. But if I just say to myself, well, I want to be more kind, but no, don't try and do that. Just accept yourself how you are. That's not very good, is it? Because that's saying then you're not going to be kinder. That don't make sense. So yes, I see what you're saying, but be careful. That's not a rationalization for escaping, facing your fears and being more accountable. So, accepting yourself in what way? In a correct way, yes, but accepting that, you know, you're not going to improve. That's not good, is it? So it'd be like someone saying, someone is on drugs, they're a drug addict, they're killing they're ruining their life, but that would be like them saying, accept themselves. No, that's, you know, yes, have compassion, don't judge people, but you can't accept yourself as a drug addict who's almost going to die. If that's not what you want in life, you have to change. You have to get off drugs. So if someone says, just accept that someone's bullying you and doing harm on you, no, that's not right, is it? That's not good acceptance. It's like, no, call the police, get help, stand up to them, stop the abuse and the bullying. So do you see my point? But if you say, I've really got to work on, you know, accepting myself as a person, appreciating who I am, loving myself more, yes, in that way, great. That seems correct. So we need to get the balance right so that we don't go into areas that are untruthful and they're not really working. So you get people that lie, we've all done it, and say, I accept myself, I accept who I am, but it's like deep down they don't accept who they are. They're full of anger, they treat everyone bad because they, you know, they don't feel good and they don't live the right life and they're not being honest. So you've got to be honest about where you're at, how you feel and what you're achieving. Does that make sense? But I was talking about accepting the reality that we can't control everything in life, and we can't control that we're going to die. We have to work at accepting that. It's something that we can't change. We can't. All the money in the world, all the power in the world, all the work can't change that we're all going to die. That's inevitable. But we can work on accepting that death is a part of life, and we can get a little bit better. Maybe some of us can get totally better, depending on your faith or where you're at. Accepting that. Yeah, you're welcome. That question come up before in my life when I was learning. I had a challenge with that as well at some point. Now I've got more clarity, more wisdom. Where someone said to me, and they meant well, they said, are you sure you're not overdoing it? Because you're into this whole improve yourself, face your fears, develop, but when are you ever going to accept yourself? And I went, whoa, there's a lot of truth in what they said. I need to step back and have a really feel about that. There is some truth in that, you know, because the motivation to keep improving can also come from an insecure place. Definitely, there's wisdom there, definitely. It's like, I got to keep improving myself because I never feel good enough. Okay, well if there's awareness there, then there's already an improvement. But there's also the balance of someone that lies and says, I don't need to go to the gym, I don't need to help people, I don't need to have gratitude because I accept myself. It's like, no, you don't. You're not being honest. That don't feel right. Can't lie to what is true. We feel something when it's true, when it's correct. So we've got to get the balance between accepting ourselves and other people, but also not lying and deceiving ourselves and not improving and becoming better people. And nature and God teach us that through life. You know, it would be like me saying, I've got plants in my house, right? And if you don't water the plants regularly, obviously the plants die. So I can't just walk in and say, well, I accept that I'm not going to water my plants. It's like, that's not a great acceptance, quite selfish. They're going to die. You know, if I want the plants to live, which I do, I have to get off my backside and go and get some water and water the plants and keep them alive, give them the, you know, the fuel that they need. Does that make sense? I like your question, your challenge. Yeah, another example was on the thing. It's like when I was younger, growing up, I would have been terrified of losing my hair, right, and going bald, which is what is happening right now. But over time, I have just such a better acceptance now that I am bald, that I have losing my hair, because I've worked on myself, you know, through. Life's done that, you know, the tragedies of life, the great times in life, my faith, growing as a person, still growing, appreciation, you know, being around good people, just experiencing life, accepting more. There's more of an acceptance now. If I could grow my hair back would I do it? Yeah, I would. I'd rather have my hair back and not be receding and balding. But that's, I have to accept that. Now, of course, I could get a hair transplant, and that's not something that I feel inspired to do right now. And if I want to do that, I could. But the acceptance helps me more, and I appreciate the spirit of a person more now, who I am as a person, more than how I look. Where when I was younger, it was more about, I valued more how I looked, because I was unconscious and wasn't as mature and experienced in life, and I wasn't as secure in myself as I am now. I just wasn't. So I valued more, too much, my vanity, even though I like to look good now and smart, but I prefer more to be spiritually in a better place and to appreciate the more meaningful things in life. So it's not the end of the world to lose your hair and be bald. I'm more concerned about how I treat people and how my faith, that's more important to me. Does that give any context in what we're saying today? There's actually another part of me that quite likes it. That's awareness, that's maturity, that's improvement. But if I just said before, if I wasn't honest about where I was at the start with hair loss and where I am now, then there's no growth. And I'm glad I've grown. I would be terrified to have the mindset that I had when I was younger, because I couldn't accept losing my hair. It would have made me feel like I'm gonna die, when it's not. Now I can laugh at it and see how ridiculous it is on the scale of what is important in life. Life and death, and that is temporary on this earth. Welcome. I was with a friend a few weeks ago. We were out, right, having a coffee. It was lovely, and I spilled coffee all over my jeans, my shirt. I had a new shirt on, new jeans, and literally it was a big cup of coffee. We was in a coffee shop in Chelsea, getting like a hot chocolate, little cafe place, nice place, and I spilled it everywhere, all over me. And me and my friend just laughed, and I said, it's not a big deal, he's great. And I said, we both laughed. I said, that's spiritual growth. I said, if that was me when I was younger, that would have ruined my whole day. Because I would have been like, oh my goodness, my shirt, this shirt's brand new, my jeans, there's coffee all over me, now what am I gonna do? Growth, acceptance to uncertainty. I was like, it's fine, it's just a pair of jeans, I can replace them. It's just a shirt, okay, I appreciate it, but I'd give this to charity. I'd rather just give it to someone who needs it more than me. I've got plenty of shirts at home. It's not the end of the world, and it's not the first time I've had sticky coffee or. I'm happy to be out of my friend. That's gratitude. That's a better tolerance to uncertainty. That is living life to the full. That little example, and a lot of you I think you'd really appreciate that. You'd understand what that represents. That a lot of people that ruin their whole day. I was like that when I was younger. I'd be like, I've got to go home. I've got to change. I'm like, well, I'm miles away. Fine, just laughed about it, nothing. Get over it. Now, of course, I would have rather not spilled the coffee all over my shirt and jeans, but it's not a big deal. I found gratitude in, and I was excited about being aware of something that would have ruined my whole day when I was younger. And now going, I've actually grown, not just in age, but in maturity, and I can just not be so selfish and feel like the world's over because I spilt some coffee on my jeans and shirt, and it's going to ruin my whatever. Just keep moving. Tough though. It is a tough mentally. It is very challenging to the human mind. Just try it now. When you sit down, and you start thinking about your life and the next hour and the next day. Uncertainty, as far as the mind's concerned, is a nightmare. It's like people don't even want to think about that. I'm pretty impressed that a lot of you can stay on and listen to me, because this conversation And I'm respectful of that, I get it, right? But we want to live the best life. This can frighten a lot of people, and they'll just be like, I can't listen to this guy, or this person can't deal with that, it's too honest, it's too truthful, I need to distract myself, which I understand, you've got a right to do that, but I've also got a right to speak on this and help people, because this causes people a lot of problems, and it caused me a lot of problems in my life, but it can also give people good solutions so they can live a better life and have more peace. But yeah, the boxing ring, man, it was the ultimate exercise of uncertainty. You go in that ring and you don't know what's going to happen, until you get more confident, and you either don't care, you want to be in there. It's a weird relationship. We've all had that in life. All of you have. Think about your life at points where you might look back at things you've done and think, how did I do that? That was dangerous. That was risky. You probably risked your life many times. All of us have. As a matter of fact, we risk it every day we leave the house, but we don't always think of it in that way. Time for some cake. From my experience, everyone might be different. You guys tell me this helps you. I find it easier to take action and do things that are scary than sitting down thinking about them. I find that more scary. It just drives me nuts. Example, if I had to sit here for a whole day or a week thinking about getting up and giving a speech or a presentation with my mechanisms and my mind and anxiety, it's torture. But if it was like, just get straight into it, I can do it better, it's better, or shorter time. But obviously I can do the other one if I have to, but it's not a pleasant experience. But I think some people are different. They're so frightened of actually getting in on stage or in a boxing ring or doing a live stream or going to a business meeting, things that are practical. Some people are just a bit, and I understand that. People have got different strengths, and they might prefer to strategize and have a lot of time to sit down and prepare. But I don't enjoy all that. I just feel like that's a waste of time. It just creates a lot of more fear, more stress. It's just delaying the fight. I want to get to the fight now. I don't want to sit here and talk about the fight and have to think about it, because it's going to drive me insane and with worry and stress. I just want to get in the ring and get to the fight right now. Let's go. Cheers, Eddie. You too, man. I can't see you, but same for you, man. So yeah, when I do these talks and stuff and mentor, I do like to have a break and let you not just let you think, but let you because there's thinking, but there's negative thinking, but really think about it in a positive way where you can absorb this in, and it can change you. It can make you spiritually grow, improve, and make you really think and feel differently about how you want to live your life and how you want to develop a better relationship with anxiety and uncertainty moving forward and in the present moment. Even the relationship to it when you're sitting down, like I said, which has been an ongoing challenge for me personally that I'm working on improving, which is why I prefer to be busy doing things, more action orientated than sitting about too long thinking about things, worrying and strategizing and going over them in your mind. Because the reality of something is completely different to the imagination of doing it. So the way that you would imagine doing a public talk on a live stream or in an event is actually completely different to what it would be in reality. I find it easier. The suffering of waiting, contemplation, thinking, overthinking, catastrophizing, worrying, scenario planning, worst case scenario, best case scenario, what if this happens? It's torture. It's torture. But some people, there's times where they can, people are really good at it. I've got friends that are good at that, and I'm working on improving at that relationship of sitting down and being able to have that awareness and not be bought in and affected emotionally, mentally by the anxious mind that is anticipating. I basically called it the locker room effect, which is what all boxers have got to go through, which if you haven't been through, it is a humbling experience. But you've all been through it in your own way, where, you know, when you're going for a job interview and they say, oh, can you just wait there for a few minutes? You've got to sit in a room basically, maybe for 20 minutes or half an hour. They're interviewing other people and you've got your suit ready, you've got your CV ready, you're nervous, you're worried, you're thinking about it, thinking, are they going to like me? I hope they accept me when I get the job. Am I going to like the people? I hope I don't get nervous. All those things that we go through. So when you're sitting down, the waiting to go on stage for me is worse than actually getting on stage. And I found that with boxing. When I was on the train thinking about sparring, it was torture to me mentally. My mind was just torturing me with fear and worry, and then in the gym thinking. But once I was in there, in the action, freedom. That's a tough one now. Controlling that. I think discipline comes to mind. A lot of exercise, Eddie. Physical exercise, running, training, boxing, relationships, connections with friends, family. I would say those things definitely help. And wanting to improve it, awareness, therapy, mentorship, deep conversations, things like what we're doing today, goals, gratitude. Again, this would be not a quick fix. Addiction is not something that you're gonna break in a day or a week. It's gonna take some time, but work it every day. But yeah, discipline, training, exercising, cleaning, training and exercising, all these things help with any addiction, whether it's a sexual addiction, whatever addiction, they all help discipline. The more discipline you build, the more you feel, the more stronger you are. The more, I don't know if love is the right word. It might be the right word. I'm not sure if it feels accurate for me saying that for this situation, but you have more strength, more spiritual connection with yourself and with life, etc. More communication, more intimacy. A lot of the times, a lot of addiction stems from a lack of authenticity in people's communication, their vocabulary, their intimacy, their honesty. So a lot of addiction stems from pain, disconnection, loneliness, anxiety, uncertainty, trauma, and a lot of the solution is connection, relationship building, but obviously wholesome connection, the right connection, not the connection to the addiction, because there's a connection you've got to that or anyone, that's a negative relationship. So to beat a negative relationship, you can't beat it with another negative relationship, you need a positive one. And the way that you go about that, well, there's various ways, but that's building that better relationship. And that comes with making the bed, cleaning the apartment, gratitude, exercising, eating healthy, contribution, being kind to people, having boundaries. And of course I could say having a meaningful relationship, but that takes time, right? You want the right person. And again, I can't just click my fingers, or you can, and get that person. That comes with work, uncertainty, acceptance of uncertainty, all those things. Understanding the consequences of what is the negative addiction taking from me, as opposed to what is it giving me. Yeah. I'm glad that helped you, Lee, man. I don't know if you've done it already, Eddie, I'm sure you have, but listen to other stories of other people that have beaten the same challenge that you're going through. There's loads of people out there that are beating that addiction. What am I talking about? You're talking to one right now. I just realized it. I got the same, that's one of the addictions I've had. I've made massive progress. So if I can make the progress I've made, then so can you. I just realized that now. We don't always realize until we become aware and we realize. Big problem for me too, Eddie. I had to really work at it with my faith. All the things that I'm teaching and practicing today, discipline, gratitude, you know, going on those long runs, training, connection, authenticity, kindness, honesty, vulnerability, not giving up. You know, we're going to make mistakes at some point with the addiction. You're gonna relapse, get back on, get clean again, keep going. If you want to keep on growing, you've got to keep on going. A little affirmation that I've developed myself there. Prayer. I don't know if you pray. I don't know what your faith is. I respect that. Praying helps. Helping others, you know, being of service to other people, that massively helps. I'm getting a little bit better actually explaining that, because my mind tricks me sometimes into not talking about that and sharing that. It's so truthful, it's so honest, and it's can be challenging for everybody, me included, but it feels great when you do it. Help other people get beyond your own selfishness, and I'm doing that today because I didn't want to be here today. It was a struggle, you know. I want someone else to serve me, to help me and to love me, but I get a lot of love and connection already, and I like doing my job, helping people and appreciating that all of you appreciate me helping you and showing up and being of service to others and helping people even when I don't feel like it. That's character, you know. It doesn't make us a bad person, it makes us a good person. Sometimes we don't feel like being kind because we're in pain, we're struggling, or we're tired, or we were kind yesterday, or we were kind to, you know, an hour before. But, you know, getting the best out of yourself in life, go that extra mile. So kindness massively helps, you know, the more kinder you are to others, genuine kindness that is. I know that you're kind, Eddie, all of you are. That helps, it gives you strength to beat that addiction. Addictions, negative addictions generally don't like things like kindness, discipline, love. They are the opposite of that. They are kind of like insulted and intimidated by that positivity, that energy, that I guess that integrity. Wow, it's a good day today. It's a tough day today. Tough workout. Usually I love my workouts, right? And I don't want them to end. But today I was struggling, and that's good. It's good to struggle. That means you're growing. I was thinking, when's this going to end? And then when I got into the sauna today, I had the same relationship. I was being challenged today, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Oh, I want to get out of here. I'm having it today on this stream. One of the streams I'd done, many of the streams the other day, I loved it. I didn't want it to end. It was easy because that's how it goes sometimes. You appreciate it. One of the ones I've done about 2 hours and 20 minutes, I was in flow. It was pain-free. It was beautiful. This one is difficult today. Part of me is thinking, when's this going to end? You know, maybe some of you are feeling the same. That's what it takes, you know, to be better in life. If you're going to be more honest, we all feel like this at times. Even when I said this to someone, a lot of times people ask me, they approach me and ask me in different places when I go, oh, what do you do for work? And I told them, I said, I love what I do. I'm a mentor. I love it. I said, but it's challenging, no? You know, just because I enjoy it and I love it. And I don't get paid all the time, but I get paid some of the time in my business. A lot of stuff I do is unpaid, but it leads to paid work and I don't expect it. And then they're a bit confused, I can tell. They're a bit like, I don't understand it. And I'd love to do what he does. And they're like, oh, I don't enjoy my job. So there are times where, you know, even what you enjoy doing, you don't always enjoy doing. You're a human being, you've got feelings, you've got emotions, and they're different days, different atmosphere. But showing up, giving your best, that is something to appreciate. What I said to one of you earlier on. So I take great gratitude in today's session. I always enjoy these because, you know, again, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to get a connection. And, you know, I didn't know if I got the stamina today. I don't know, it's not 100%. I believe I can. I commit to doing it, but it's not guaranteed because I did it yesterday, many weeks before, but it's a new day, new challenge. That challenges all human beings, that pattern. Me too. It's like yesterday went really well at work or with friends or in my life or whatever the situation. I had a great day yesterday. It felt good. It felt safe. I felt good, not worried. But today I don't feel the same. Why? Today I feel worried. I feel stressed. I don't feel as good. That's where you have to come back to hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. It's life. You're not the only one. Everyone goes through it. Gratitude. What are you grateful for? Can you just accept it that today it isn't a good day today, tomorrow might be a better one. It's not like you haven't been through that before. Think about your life. How many times have you had days where you went, I'm having a bad day today, because you compared it to the day that was good. So comparing doesn't help. It's human nature though. Comparing to others and comparing to how we felt yesterday to today. But are you growing though? What are you getting out of today? Sometimes the good days, they're good days, but in the long run, they're not as valuable because you don't grow, you don't appreciate, you're not being challenged in a way that is healthy. So example, I remember boxing and getting in and doing really well because the person I sparred with was easy. He wasn't challenging and I got the better of him and he couldn't hurt me and I got the better of him. And I come out feeling that was great, I had a good day today and I feel good because I won. And I could, not that anybody wins in sparring, technically no one wins, but you're human. But then the next day I go in next week with a guy, hang on a minute, I can't get the better of him and he beats me up. He's really difficult and I just feel humiliated, ashamed. And I say, why didn't I do as good with him as I'm a reason why he's better, he's got more experience. And that's how it went. If I couldn't accept that, sometimes I couldn't, I was going to suffer unnecessarily, but if I could go accept it, the facts are, I sparred with a guy that was at a lower level than me and it was easy for me. And I enjoyed that because it wasn't a challenge and I had a safe day, no uncertainty. Whereas the next day I got in with someone who was better than me, more experienced, and he'd give me an ass kicking and he made me not feel good and made me think that my day's over. But if you look at it from another point of view, none of it is over. It's part of living and learning. One day's good, one day's not so good. That's the journey of life. Yeah, I can't wait for that fight. Uncertainty. Joshua and Ngannou. Wow, that's going to be a great fight. Can't wait. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, looking forward to that fight a lot. I think it's a great fight. It's for all the obvious reasons. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a big boxing fan. Sugar Ray Robinson's he's on another level. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I've gone through stages of watching a lot of the old fighters, but Sugar Ray Robinson is one of the best of all time that I've seen from the tapes. You just know it. Yeah, he had loads of fights. He was a great fighter, and he just seemed like a good man, a good person. Yeah, they were in many ways back then. In some ways, I wouldn't say the mentality. I think the time that they grew up in. But then you could say we've got more challenges in our generation in a different way. It's opinion and perspective, isn't it? But I see what you mean. I kind of agree on what you're saying. It depends on what we measure tough by. I'm going to do a video on that, because I've had a realization when I had a mental health breakdown with that, because there's tough in physicality. Some people are very tough physically, but they're not as strong emotionally. So there are different ways that you could measure toughness and strength. You know, someone that can overcome challenges, that's tough and be vulnerable. So different measurements of what we would, a man being tough. I should do a video on that. How did I bounce back? Faith, good people, and weakness. I found strength in absolute sheer weakness, and a lot of the things that I'm teaching and saying today came, Eddie, from the lessons that I learned with my comeback, mental health comeback. Yeah, exactly. Mentally, physically, spiritually, different ways. You know, some people can go in and they can bench press 500 pounds. I can't do that, but they might not be able to do things that you can do. They wouldn't be able to do a public talk. They haven't got the strength to do that. They're too scared. So there's different areas where we could explain someone being strong, as we're talking about men right now, strengths and weaknesses, which I think is great. It's fascinating. I don't think that's a bad thing. I know a lot of men might think that way from the perspective, but that's not how I'm thinking about it and assessing it. I'm saying that we can learn from each other. So yeah, some men are more physically strong, they're good fighters, but they're emotionally not as strong. So they might need therapy, might need some of your help, my help in a different way, or some have got both, some can learn. We can develop in all areas, which is why I teach that in my programs on all these platforms and live it, to help men and women to be mentally and emotionally stronger through the different practices, through exercising, training, communicating, service, helping people, discipline, faith, all these things. Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. That was very, very trying times. Very, very testing time. Like I said today, one of the tips that I'm gonna finish with soon is, you know, building mental strength and emotional strength and discipline. These things take time, and even if you are a person, which is very rare, but let's just say there is some people that are naturally born more mentally and emotionally stronger, that still doesn't mean that they're not free of like not practicing. So if you practice something, you can become stronger mentally and emotionally. Quite often, probably some of the weakest people, not from my point of view, but from society or what they thought, maybe they were weak to begin with. They became one of the strongest because they were committed to changing and working, and that's been my story. You know, I wasn't mentally strong growing up, and I wasn't emotionally strong. I was weak in many ways, but I worked hard. I put a lot of work in. I still do. And there's some contradictions in the things I'm saying, but they're true. You know? So sometimes strength is found in weakness. Sometimes weakness will be found in strength. That's a good question. I don't know if I got the exact answer. That's probably a longer conversation, Infinite Youth, about if you're someone that wears their heart on their sleeve, how do you not take insults to heart? I think by wearing your heart on your sleeve. I think you've answered your own question through your question. I think that's worth it. That's the price you pay. So if you're going to wear your heart on your sleeve, you're going to be criticized and judged by lots of people, but a lot of people will love you for who you are, and that's more important. But if you don't wear your heart on your sleeve, and deep down you are a heart on your sleeve person, man or woman, then the cost of that is agony, because you're not being yourself. You're not speaking from your heart, your soul, because you're so scared about what, again, it's back to the uncertainty again. So just keep getting better at that, and as long as you're doing good, you know, I'd rather wear I do wear my heart on my sleeve. But that takes time as well. You know, authenticity, true authenticity, being who you are, speaking from your heart. It's not an overnight thing. It's therapy again. These are things that you got to work at, and you build it step by step, day by day. I don't do that no more, Eddie. I told you that before. I think it's putting things into perspective, and I think everybody cares to a certain degree what people think, but some care more than others. And again, it's that right relationship. You know, you can go too extreme with one or the other, and we could agree that everybody cares what everybody thinks about them, but that can just be a dead end. You can stay there forever. If you want to make progress, you've got to start to change. You've got to move out of that. And again, it's sometimes that is selfish. I'm not saying you're selfish, Infinite Youth, though I'm sure you can be, and I can be, we all can. This is to help. But it can be a selfish thing if we're just infatuated with what are everyone thinking about me. If I live there, I can stay there forever. I choose not to live there. But if you think to yourself, okay, how can I be a better person? Still, you know, not abandon myself, and value myself and enjoy life. That will get you over it, you know. You need a reason to be courageous sometimes, and sometimes that reason's got to be to go above and beyond your own needs and think about what you can give to someone. If someone was about to be killed that you loved, you wouldn't be thinking about what people think about you. You would be thinking, I'm going to save that person. Does that make sense? I know that's extreme, but sometimes I've got to go to extremes to get some of you out of your head, to get you thinking in a more positive way. That's a good question. You've changed your answer there. It's okay. That's a good question. That's back to uncertainty. Yeah, it's a challenging one. You know, how do you, if you've been putting a lot of effort into something and you're not getting the results in return, I think it's about stepping back and being honest and asking yourself, number one, you know, is what I'm doing the right thing to begin with? Because if I'm putting a lot of effort in and I'm not getting the results, okay, so you could say I'm doing something wrong, something needs to change, which it probably does. But sometimes you've got to look at your values and the motives, and am I doing the right thing? Is it coming from the right place? That might be helpful for your particular challenge right now. And then it's also, you know, sometimes it's working on other areas of life. Sometimes you're trying to achieve something that you think's important, and you're getting frustrated when you're not getting the results in that area. But that could be a sign you're in the wrong area. You might need to go to a different area. So that's another bit of wisdom. So go away, feel about it and see what you think. Come to your own conclusion. Yeah, I've been overweight. Yeah, you can. If you go through my YouTube channel somewhere, you'll see it. I'm going to put some videos together soon. Yeah, I was overweight in from 2017, 219, 220, all up until that point. There's videos online of me very overweight. You know, I'm 40 pounds heavier. Yeah, having something to fight for, exactly. I do a combination of all. I put them up on the channel. I thought I shouldn't assume that all of you see the videos, because sometimes I think you see the stuff I put up. I suppose you're not going to see all of it. Yeah, I mix it up. I love it. I've always loved boxing, weight training, running, and swimming. So I fluctuate between all of them. I love all of them. But I don't train to be a bodybuilder. That's not the physique I want. I love bodybuilding, by the way, but I like my body. I like being slim and in shape. But that's me. And again, I think I said on the stream before, you've got to do what's right for you. Oh yeah, I put some other ones. Yeah, still doing the running. Running's amazing. The running's great for all these things. What was the most successful thing you did to lose weight? I really like your question. Thanks for asking me that. The most successful thing that I've done to lose weight was definitely dieting, changing my diet. Definitely that, but definitely running. When I started, I knew running would do it anyway, I still had to do it. When I started going on consistent runs and enjoying running, it took a while. That's when the weight started to fall off, especially around my stomach, hips, and those areas, and the boxing too. So the boxing, the running, and the dieting, gradually those together just strip the weight off, and that works. And that's something that I teach in my programs. Anyone can do that. It's not complicated, really. It takes effort, it takes courage, but it's not complicated in what you got to do. Run regularly, do some boxing training, and just, I'm not saying you've got to be a diet freak. You can eat unhealthy here and there, but consistently eat healthier and eat less calories. Burn more calories than you consume. Eat healthier. Train hard, and the weight will come off. Anyone can do it. A big part for me that helped with the weight loss, I did a video on the channel, you can look at it somewhere, was I enjoyed it. This is something that I really do enjoy. I don't enjoy everything that I do, and none of us do, but I particularly enjoy, I love training. I've always enjoyed it. It's like, it's not punishment for me or something that I despise, something that I love doing. Even talking about it makes me want to do it, which is why I do it most days. I have a couple of days off when I need rest, so I like running. I love it. I love it. I love the process of it, the challenge. I like how it makes you feel. I love boxing training. I love weight training, swimming. I love them. I would say walking helps, but I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think walking's effective for weight loss. I've got to be honest. I know that might hurt some people's feelings, but that's me. Now, walking is great though. I love walking, and it's better than nothing. So I'm not saying don't do walking, but it's not as effective as running is. It ain't, because I used to walk for miles around London, and I was overweight. And then the doctor said to me, your cholesterol's a bit high, you want to start exercising. And I said, I need to start getting fit again. I'm eating takeaways every day. And I was doing massive walks. So walking's not enough if you really want to shred. If you're talking, I don't know how much weight you want to lose, if you're asking me that, but if you want to lose like 10, 20, 30 pounds, walking is not enough unless you had a really strict diet, which most people don't. It's not enough intensity, so you need to be sweating. I don't think it's possible to lose weight if you're not sweating. I've never lost weight in any workouts I've been doing over the years. I've been training pretty much all my life, on and off. And I've never lost weight if I've not been sweating. The sweat is a sign that the weight's coming off. The water, the thing, your body. How long do I run for? I run from, minimum is 30 minutes that I do, but I generally do more. So 30 minutes up into an hour and a half. I would say my average time at the moment is about 45 minutes to an hour that I run. How many times a week? Around 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes more. And that also includes the other exercising that I do. Yeah, definitely, you have to make the body sweat. Johnny, how do you have motivation to leave the house? It's hard even for going for walks when there's no motivation. I just make myself do it. Years of not doing it and the pain of that. So now I don't go by my emotions for Pirelli, if that's your name, sorry. I just push myself to do it. I just get out of the house. I've trained myself to do it. So it's a choice, but it's not an emotional choice. If I go by my emotions, if you go by it, then you won't have motivation to leave the house. So I don't go by my feelings, I go by my commitments. Great questions though. Yeah, I do, Eddie. I do that. I don't do it every time, but I do that. The last few runs I've done it and I enjoy it. I mix up with sprint intervals. I do hill runs as well. They're the toughest. So my run starts off from my house around the park. It's flat, and then I go up the hills. Sometimes I do 10. Even 1 is difficult, and then back down and then run all the way back. It's an amazing run. I've got clips all over the internet of the runs. If some of you need to see it for motivation. I put them out to other people. Actually, I want all of you to experience it, do it for yourself. great, man. That's a great goal. You can do it. You can do it. I lost 10 kg I need to lose, making the bed in the morning. Great. Morning. I do both. Morning and evenings, depending on how I feel, what clients I've got on, you know, if I've got clients, business, schedule. And I like that freedom of, you know, like today I trained in more the day to evening. So I do the morning sometimes. I just make sure that I'm consistent. So I like to mix it up. I think you improve that way. But again, everyone's different. Some people might prefer to stick to mornings or evenings. Is discipline sustainable long term? That's a great question. Yeah, it is. I'm doing it. Many people are. Definitely, yeah. But it's a good question, though. I see where the question comes from. You're basically saying, you know, is that realistic? Again, it's back to uncertainty. Again, I cannot give you certainty that I'll be disciplined tomorrow, nor will you. But I've been disciplined for a long time, so one day at a time. But you can do it long term, definitely. I mean, I was disciplined for a long time to lose over 40 pounds, change my life, my teaching, business. My clients are doing it. No reason why you can't. You know what, right? I don't fully agree on that anymore. I do agree with you, right? I do agree and I don't agree, because I used to say the same thing, and it's true, and I'll challenge you in a good order. You know, the hardest part is getting started, yeah, but the hardest part is not quitting when things get difficult. That's even harder. Yes, people generally find it hard to get started, but from my experience of mentoring for 12 years, 40 years young with that Self-Awareness channel, and my own journey, the hardest part for people is not getting started, but not quitting when it gets difficult. That's the hardest part. But you've helped me to realize that. But yes, you are right on many ways. I'm not saying it's wrong. Yes, getting started's hard, but keeping it going, back to your question today, is discipline sustainable long term? If you've really committed to it, then yes. If not, then no. I think the most disciplined people have been the most undisciplined people at some point. They had to have been. They had to have suffered the consequences of being undisciplined to really understand and value what it means to be disciplined. But if there is anyone out there that doesn't fit what I've said, brilliant. I want to meet you and shake your hand. If you were just born disciplined, because I wasn't, and you were always disciplined in everything that you did, then I want to meet you and shake your hand, because you're more disciplined than me, and that would be a humbling. Great, all the great questions are coming at the end. I want to use that as a title. That's a great question. I love that. 100% yes, I've done it. Clients are doing it. Do you think it's harder to be disciplined? Oh, sorry, no. Do you think it's hard when you're depressed? Of course it is. That's why you've got to be disciplined when you're depressed. It absolutely is. But on another, again, perspective, it might be easier because you have motivation. If someone's happy and they're not depressed, they might not have any motivation to get up and run and go and challenge themselves. But if someone's on the brink of destruction and death and depression, then discipline can be generated. But again, it depends on the person, you know, what you believe, what you practice. But I like your question, I like your point. But I think that, you know, I've said it on the post of their video, you know, we don't really learn from podcast shows. We don't really learn from reading books generally. I mean, we do learn intellectually, but we learn from pain. People, you can't change your life pain-free. People don't really transform until they've gone through a lot of pain. Listen to any story of addiction. Any person that got off drugs, turned their life around, they went through agony, which is why I applaud them. It's amazing. Anyone that's gone through changes. My life is to change my life ongoing. It's been agony, but it hasn't been agony forever. It's a lot of joy, as you can see. So change comes with pain. You know, we get inspired. We watch I love watching podcast shows too. I'll watch one tonight. But you're not going to change and grow as a person just by watching a podcast show if you're not living it and applying it in your life. Definitely. Great questions though, like the best questions kind of come right at the end. Love the questions today. They're really good questions. They're questions like that say that you really want to improve your life and change, and really intelligent questions. I'm going to do more streams. Great foundation, Eddie. One of the best. Exactly. That's it. You know, like I said, back to what I said, we can't get out of it. We've all got anxiety. It doesn't matter what we say, what we are. Everyone's got it. Me included. All of us. We've all got uncertainty. We've all got pain in our life. How are we going to respond? Do you want to live a great life still, be the best person you can be, with the pain and tragedies and uncertainty of life that's inevitable, or do you want to not be disciplined? It's a choice. You have a morning routine, yep. Making the bed, getting up early, yep. Making the bed before you're preparing the next day or reflecting on the day, yep. Yeah, all that's correct. Yep. You guys and girls are on point, man. You're on point. You're on point. You're getting it. Discipline is not going by your emotions, so it's not like, well, I'm only going to run when I'm happy. I'm only going to run when my finances are good. I'm only going to run when someone says nice things about me. I'm only going to run where I feel safe. I'm only going to run where my mental health is 100%. It's not discipline. Discipline is, I'm going to run regardless of how I feel. I mean, generally, obviously, if someone was suffering severe mental health problems, like many people do, and what I had in 2017, they've got to go and get professional help and not go on a run. That is different in that situation. But generally, if you're not suffering with severe mental health problems and you're not suicidal or really in need, then there's no excuses because you're well. You're just, having anxiety and not feeling good or feeling good. So I really try every day to practice not going by my emotions, because emotions are deceiving. They're up, down. I just try and set a goal and just discipline myself to do it, whether that's helping people, the business, my training, and that brings joy after, that brings gratitude, that brings strength of character, all the things that all of you want to gain, want to improve. Am I an early riser? Yes, I am. I never used to be though. But the last couple of days I've had a bit of a lie-in because I've been consistently getting up early. So I do believe in not taking everything to the extreme, which could be unhealthy in anything that you do. There is a time to, rest, like have a good diet, have a bit of cake here and there. Another great point again, really true about, that's what I said about finding hope. There's always hope. Smart stuff, yeah, that's very relatable for all humans. And that's where sometimes you've got to be disciplined when you feel hopeless. Then that will give you hope. So discipline is kind of like not needing anything, just doing it your best you can. It's not easy, believe me, for me, for anyone, but you can do it. It ain't easy, but it can be done. It is being done. Anyone can do it. I'm no different to any of you, and I'm doing it. And you build habit. You build up. That's discipline again. Again, you lot are on point again. You're talking about things that I've been teaching and sharing, appreciating. Getting up early, that's discipline when you don't feel like it. I'm going to come to the end of the stream now. I think they're closing here, and I wanted to do 2 hours. This is brilliant. I would have done an hour and a half. I actually really enjoyed it. If any of you watched this stream, you'd have seen that I was struggling about an hour and a half in emotionally, but I stuck it out and it changed, and I actually feel I could do another hour, but I think they're closing here. And I've enjoyed it a lot, but I had to go through that. That's discipline, that's the distance, that's doing the hill runs, that shows up everywhere. It shows up on what we do. Just setting those small goals and think of the dream that you set. That's good. That's a good attitude. That is a good mentality to have. You're welcome. All of you are very welcome. Always welcome. Thank all of you for coming on as well and supporting the channel. Please like, share, subscribe. Help as many people as we can. And you can just practice from today what I do. Take the pressure off all yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't compare yourself to anyone. Just do one little thing at a time. What's important to you? Some of you get up early tomorrow, go to the gym. You know, whatever is discipline for you in your life, do that and give yourself a pat on the back for doing it. I got through the day today. I didn't think I could do it. I had a challenging day today, and I wrote a list. And emotionally, I said, "There's no way I can do that list today. I can't do that today. I've been strong so many days, helping. I can't do it." I did a prayer, and I managed just to scrape through and do it. And I feel grateful that I did it, because I didn't want to let everyone down and myself. I can rest tomorrow if I want, have a Saturday off. I made a list today. I'll tell you the list. The list was: get up early, clean your apartment, have a coffee, face your fears, write good thoughts for your clients, do a 2-hour live stream, which was challenging, go to the gym, sauna, shower, and get a haircut, beard trim. Didn't feel like doing that. I've completed the whole list today. This is the final thing on the list. It weren't easy, trust me. It may look easy, it was not easy. It was a real fight. I had to pray, I had to really find strength, and human beings helped me today, even if they didn't realize it. You know, I met these nice guys in the sauna today. We got talking, and you know, the guy said, "Oh, I stay in here for 20 minutes." I said, "Oh, I've never done that. I haven't got the strength to do that. I've only do 5." I stayed in for 20. I said, "Thanks, man. You helped me to break my record today." You know, be grateful. And so all those things add up. And I feel, you know, how you would feel. And all of you are great. So you stayed on this whole stream. I can't believe that all of you can stay on this long. It takes a lot of patience. So yeah, we did it. We did 2 hours today. That'll be it today. I'm going to aim to do another 2 hours tomorrow, if I can. I'm looking forward to continuing. And it's all about making daily progress and practicing gratitude. So well done, everyone, coming on today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, look forward to the next one. And some of the questions that you asked today and the things and the conversations were brilliant. It's giving me ideas how I can help more of you, my clients, also improve myself and put some more stuff on the channel. All right, have a great weekend, all of you. Hopefully see you tomorrow.